The Spirituality Now podcast is sponsored by Delaflor Teachings International, a spiritual and systemic coaching and consulting company with the mission to help individuals, businesses, and corporations create brilliant futures through sustainable transformation. Also sponsored by the Network for Human Empowerment, a philanthropic TV network that serves the Spanish-speaking communities with free, conscious education aimed to empower individuals to become the best versions of themselves. And our podcast producer, Ascend Media, Authority Syndication, delivering premium video marketing, podcast production, and social syndication.
Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast, a podcast committed to supporting you in your journey to life mastery and personal enlightenment. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor, and I truly believe that now I'm bringing you more incredible guests that keep us all up-leveling, that keep us all taking this concept of spirituality into a more holistic experience of what it is to be human that is not exclusive of anything, right? When I started the podcast, people thought I was going to bring only gurus from India every week. That's how many people think spirituality is. Or that I was going to speak about the Bible every week. That's how some people think spirituality is. Or they were scared. Oh no, the term spirituality, it doesn't fit. Spirituality is such a word like the word God that is so misused, so misinterpreted, so used for marketing sometimes, right? That some of us are confused about what is it. But for me, spirituality is living truly through the power of your spirit, through the power of your mind, what it is to be human in a holistic way, in a practical way, whatever you believe outside of this, it's another cherry to the top, but who you are and what it takes to be so fulfilled and organized in a complete human while you are alive. So I have in the podcast today a guest, and that I think is going to contribute to that because her skills, her knowledge, her wisdom, her mastery is about one topic that is as misused or as misunderstood in humanity, just like spirituality. And guess what? We're going to talk about money and wealth and financial literacy and all of those juicy things that some people that in the spiritual niche think we shouldn't talk about money. So let me introduce you to her. Kim Curtis. She is a nationally recognized wealth management advisor, speaker. She's the president and CEO of Wealth Legacy Institute. She's proud to have created a firm where she can truly put her clients first, bringing the alignment she needs to feel true joy in her work. For Kim, how you deal with money says a lot about how you deal with life. Ooh. And she's passionate about helping her clients find a balance. Kim is a best-selling author of Money Secrets, Keys to Smart Investing, published by Financial Literacy Press. Kim has spoken on leadership, negotiations, and finance to organizations such as West Point, Oracle, EPA, University of Colorado Hospital, Comcast, Level 3, CenturyLink, OtterBox, Johnson & Johnson, and AAUW, amongst others. She has been profiled on NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, CW, and the Wall Street Journal. And she's here with us today at the Spirituality Now podcast with all of this wisdom of financial literacy and wealth. Welcome, beloved Kim, to the podcast.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad that that the coordination of, like, Napoleon Hill used to say something about a masterminding, the coordination, the harmonic coordination of powers, the harmonic coordination of orders. And I feel this is such a moment of that because, especially for this podcast to talk about this. And I have already interviewed people that are like masters in sales, and I get to know, we get to enhance, not reduce the spiritual experience by being fully human on this earth. And let's talk about money. So, Kim, let's start on to where your journey began. Why getting so much? I could feel, as I was reading your a little bit, and this is a little bit of your bio. I could feel the alignment, the engagement, the fullness of your mission in this world. But how did it start? Everybody starts somewhere. How did your mission started to become
Oh,
this wealth maven?
oh, wealth maven. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Well, I
use
was
it.
certainly not meant to be that, or didn't know I was back in the day. I actually, my parents divorced, and I received government assisted lunch. And every day I had this little red ticket that I would have to pass to the cashier. And I would go to the furthest line, looking away from my friends to make sure that no one was nearby. And I'd hide that red ticket under my plate as I slid it down before I got to that cashier. And the shame and unworthiness that that event uh, exhibited in my life was my start. So I certainly was not a money maven. That was
Wow.
really my background. And but my mother had one thing. She had three teenage daughters and had full custody, and she said, "Make sure you get your education because no one could ever take it away from you." And so I went
Yes.
to college and went to law school, and right after law school, immediately, well, within 6 months, defaulted on my school loans. So I was not knowledgeable about money. I had no money consciousness. I had no understanding of money. And now here I am, a CEO of a multi-million dollar wealth management firm, helping others around money. So what a story, huh?
Wow. You are the first person ever that who I love this because the shame was the beginning of wealth. And I love this because this gives people the opportunity and the possibility to open their mind and say, hey, you don't have to have a start of like, hey, I inherited money, or I knew this, or I went to college. No, it actually started when I felt shame, or when I felt distraught, or when I was depressed and when I thought I had nothing. And then a future shows you because of your work, Kim, that now you are the president of this multi-million dollar company, right? So it says far much more about your soul than anything else. So let's talk about a little bit about that. So your mother
Hmm.
gives you the gift of like study. No one will be able to remove your education. That's a
Hmm.
piece of wealth right there, correct?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Being an expert in personal finance, I'm actually really here to tell your listeners that money is looking for you, not the other way around.
Boom.
And money is looking for you. And it took me a while to understand that based on my story that I just shared with you. But what made the difference is I was so fortunate to receive an anonymous gift of $1,000 on my school loan debt. And I was in the sand. How you do money is how you do life. And I was in the sand on money. So the fact that I even opened up my school loan bill is surprising. But I opened it up, and there it was. My balance was $1,000 less. And as I looked at that statement, I thought, because it was anonymous, I didn't have anyone to talk to say, "Oh no, I don't deserve it," or "Oh, what do you want from me?" It was truly I had to have this conversation with myself, and the conversation was, "Wow, someone believes in me. What story am I telling myself that I'm not believing in myself? And if they do believe in me, what do I want? Who do I want to be?" And it was a snap. It was a snap at that moment. I had a mind shift as it relates to I am going to take ownership and be responsible for the outcomes in my life. And that is starting with money.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm making notes as fast as I can. Kim, I'm so glad you're here. Let's talk about, I'm going to call it the divine snap or the sacred snap
Hmm.
or just the snap. because I could feel it. It's like it literally, brain wise, there is a snap of synapses, right? Something
Yes.
clicks finally, and that's where we change our lives, make decisions, take according action. So tell me about that moment where you had the snap. I can imagine you, if it was like a genie in a lamp, that snap, it was like, whoa, this genie appeared. And tell me about that moment of the snap first, and then we'll talk about that gift that you received of someone believing in yourself, that it was just like that was a permission ticket for you to move forward too.
Mm.
So tell me about the snap.
Well, the snap was more um, an act of love, and that act of love,
Wow.
when it comes to ourselves, is really about self-respect. It started out for me self-respect, but the gift was love. And I think money is love. Money flows like love because money is looking for you. It's just energy. It doesn't really have any meaning until we give it meaning, and the meaning we give it is tied to our vision and our values and our ideas. And until we add that to money, money is nothing. It's empty. And so for me, the snap was self-respect that was love, and that abundance of love that I was giving myself created joy. And
Mm.
I think with those things, through joy, is the compounding effect of money in your life. Because
Wow.
with joy is when you get your ideas. It's like when you're lit up, it's like when you're passionate. And when you're in alignment with that and the ideas of that, money exponentially follows.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
We have these little receptors. I mean, we're all built, like you had said, the divine snap or the sacred snap. If you think about neuroscience, we all have these little receptors all over our body and antigens and even sunlight that we respond to. And if you think about the snap, it like when we think of money, it's visceral and it's emotional, and I know that to be true because when we think of a homeless person that's a beggar on the street, we have a visceral reaction to that. Whether it's an eye gaze or whatever it is, how you respond, it's immediate and it's visceral. And even if you see a rich person or a celebrity, it's a visceral, immediate emotional reaction. So if we think of these little receptors that we have all over uh, to respond to those things, then it perhaps helps in understanding the snap that we either can turn it on or off.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Now we're talking about joy as a compounding formula
Hmm.
for wealth, the synapses, neuroscience of money, money being empty and money being love. This is just the next level about money and education. So tell me, phew, how was it? I got to go back a little bit to the moment that someone gave you those $1,000, because isn't that true? I have a lot of mentors, and coaches, and I remember Ed Milet, that he wrote an incredible book that is called "The Power of One More." What happens when we do one more thing? One person believes on us, and we take that one belief that one step further. And I think you took the right steps, right? When this gift came to your life, you saw it as a gift. So many people receive gifts, and sometimes we're not present, and we take them for granted, but you chose to do something about it. Tell me, what is the person that you had to become
Mm,
in order to create what you have created right now?
mm. What a wonderful question, and I think that I had to believe that I was enough. I had to believe that I was worthy. It really gets back to what I had said earlier, that I think of, particularly as women, we tend to be last on the list of giving. We give to our children, we give to our mates, we give to the nonprofits, whatever. We tend to be givers, and we tend to be last on that list. And
Oh, it's so
I
true.
yeah, and I tend to believe that we need to be first as it
Yes.
relates to who we are in self-respect and self-love.
Wow. Oof. Absolutely. So from being in the last part of your list of life, you put yourself first. Listen, everyone, this is so important, and it's something that the most successful, and by successful I mean not people only that have money, but that have
Hmm.
achieved a level of fulfillment, that are helping people in the world. And they always come up with this, that it's put your oxygen mask first.
Right.
It's such a good reminder. It's something I have to remind myself every day, Kim. Every single day. It's not something that, oh, I have mastered. No, no. It's like, oh, Yvonne, remember Yvonne? Oh, yeah. Okay, let's bring her into the equation. So once you did that, Kim,
Hmm.
so how did the
Wealth
finance,
consciousness.
began to develop and began to unfold? What began to happen?
Yeah. Well, remember that we talked about self respect, self love, which brings joy. And with joy, you have the ability to follow your passion, which brings ideas. And it's the ideas that is why money is looking for you. It's your passion, it's your interest, it's your joy that brings money to you, like a collaboration, like a partnership. I mean, if you think about, Yvonne, there are two laws of money. The first is human made laws. That's what I do every single day in the nature of my work in terms of wealth preservation, tax planning, estate planning, you name it. That's what I do every single day. The other laws are natural laws around money. And the natural laws are giving and receiving, ebb and flow, cause and effect, supply and demand, intention and desire. Uh, all of those we inherently have, but we've lost sight of it. We've lost connection to that. And you need both. It's not one or the other in terms of money. You need both. So, but it starts with one, and the one it starts with is the eternal one that we just talked about, the natural money laws. And so if you and some people have a lot of money and don't understand the natural laws and therefore are unhappy. Others really understand natural law, but don't necessarily have money because of the stories that they may be telling themselves. But if you bring them both together, because you need both, and then you take it one step further, when we think of what has been created in terms of the human made laws, it's kind of results oriented with something tangible at the end, like a house, a car, a career, certain amount of money, status, reputation. It's kind of masculine energy. And that's what our system of money was created under that construct, which is why many people don't necessarily understand it. And some, quite frankly, are turned off by it. But if we think of the natural laws of money, the wealth consciousness, it's really about autonomy and relationships and rights and responsibilities and communion and I don't know, wisdom and compassion and justice and mercy. It's all of those things that tend to be
Mm,
more feminine based.
yes.
S- So if we recognize that it's not our fault that the structure of the languaging, particularly as women, that we're not getting it or we choose to push it off, but understand that you need both. And if you start with the natural laws of what comes naturally to you in terms of the relationships and joy, and take 100% responsibility for the outcomes of the choices in your life, then level up and get smart about the money side, which is what I do daily, the human made laws. You know, so once you understand that, then step up and get educated and not pass it off to someone else in your life and say that's your job. You need to start and take responsibility for that.
Right. So that this is so important what you just said, because most often this is what I've seen, especially in the spiritual niche, in the all I want to do is serve humanity, all I want to do is be the nice person, just a giver, or it's the lack of taking responsibility for our own money, for our own debts, for our own tracking of the numbers, right? It's kind of a falling in love with a process that actually makes you more wealthy, but not wanting to be in relationship with that. It's kind of a lot of people take this as a love-hate relationship, when it can be actually a harmonic cooperation of the energy of money, of finances, of it's just, and I love that you invoked mercy and compassion. It's actually a very self-compassionate thing to do, to take responsibility for our financial consciousness. And I believe that until we don't take responsibility, there's going to be no changes, or we're going to be repeating. So how do you, like, when people come to you with the challenge of actually not only understanding this, but uh, going back to natural law, which I love that you said, and actually approaching this with responsibility as an act of self-respect. I think this is important, that it's aimed towards producing joy, right? How do you like, what are the typical, let me ask this first. What are the typical ailments or challenges that you see people going through before they are aware of this money consciousness?
Sure. Now, Yvonne, remember, that's not my wheelhouse, believe it or not, because my wheelhouse
Yes.
is when people do have money is when I meet them in the
Okay,
nature of my
perfect,
work.
perfect.
In the nature of my work. But as a result of being on the other side, my older self looking back on what were the things that happened in my life that made that life turn into this life is what I've been sharing with our listeners. So I think that the very first thing is, what is the conversation that you're telling yourself about money? A lot of women say, "Oh, I just want enough." Like they don't want to take any more, just enough to have a comfortable life. And there's nothing wrong with having more. Absolutely, because having more allows you to do your best work, the work that serves others in whatever that is for you. Because it does have to be for the greater good. It has to make a difference for others beyond yourself, to be in alignment with natural law. But if you think about that, don't judge or label. So understand, unpack what are the stories you're telling yourself. And even in the beginning of this podcast, think of when I first said that, I would be very curious to see how many people were like, "Oh man, what is she talking about? It's easy for her to say, or money's for other people, or this is a waste of time." I mean, I would be curious to to the listeners how many really paid attention to what they were thinking and whether they judged that. And if they did, then that's something to think about. How many were curious and go, "I think I'm going to learn something. I think this conversation may get me out of debt." Or I think that this is kind of crap. I mean, whatever it is, but whatever that is
Absolutely.
tells you something.
I love that. And so, for those of you who have challenges now, for those of any of us that have money and investments and arrive to you, what is the first step that we take to grow this consciousness, to grow this power, to keep growing our businesses, to keep growing in this? I'm super excited just by hearing you. I'm like, oh my gosh, all the things that we're gonna do, right? So
Mhm.
what are the first steps that you like a business, a wealthy a person, CEO, corporation, whatever comes to you? Why will we come to you first? Let's just, because a lot of people that are listening to this podcast are in Latin America, Kim, and so we are, I don't know if you know, but we have a nonprofit network television talking about profit and not profit, right? Network television that provides education for the community of Latin America. And one of the main focus is eradicate the third world conscious mentality that is like, we're poor, we lack, money should be never invested, it should be used. And it's just poor lack of education, right? But what happens when people have money? Because we have a lot of people in the podcast that have the money and they don't know what to do. What's next? They find Kim, they find your firm. What happens?
Yeah, if I were to describe kind of inside our firm, and if you saw a pyramid, like a triangle, like a pyramid, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And, for Maslow's hierarchy of needs, your baseline is security, food, shelter, clothing, and you work up to self actualization. In our firm, what we have at the bottom is investing money. So people come to us when they have resources and money and they want it to construct portfolios and they want it to grow. And so managing money is the very first reason why people come to our firm. After that, you have goal setting, and that's financial planning. That's tying. There's not one decision you make in any aspect of your life that doesn't affect another aspect. And so in the US, certified financial planners, CFPs, are the ones that understand the interconnectedness of all of those things. So you have to tie money with a plan, a financial plan, because otherwise it's like archery without a bullseye. You have no target.
Oh, absolutely. Archery without a bullseye. Kim, we're already loving you. I'm seeing we're talking our team like behind the scenes on our WhatsApp, and they're like, we needed to be here. All of us are talking that. That's so
Mm.
true. Without planning, it's like being a captain of a boat. Where are you going? Where are you going?
Exactly. For
Yeah.
most of us, money without any understanding, it's frenetic, it's chaos,
Wow.
it
Yes.
swirls around us. And our
Yes.
job is to put it down as a foundation to support you
Wow.
so that you feel strong and in control and it's not frenetic anymore. It's like you're standing on it. You're the leader of how it works for you. And so
Wow.
that next level of that pyramid is lifestyle. Because and what goes with lifestyle is peace of mind. Because if your money and
Yes.
your plan are tied together, you now have peace of mind. You're no longer thinking about it anymore. You're taking your thoughts to the next level of meaning and purpose. And that's the pinnacle of that pyramid is impact.
Wow. Mm. You know, I've studied so many classes, financial this and that, business and you're just in like the last 5 minutes, I got it. Like my synapses, my brain is like whoa, 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 like just readjusting, rebalancing, and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. This is so amazing because I think what you just said, I felt like if I had a heart issue, I will go with the best neurosurgeon of heart, right? I will not go with a plumber. If I have a plumbing issue, I will go with a plumber. But for anyone that is interested to not only grow financially, but that fulfillment, that impact, that pyramid that Kim walked us through, I mean, this it's like you are like the doctor, but without saying yeah, right. But you are like the expert neurosurgeon of money here. Like, hey, let's put it to work purposefully, with a plan that works for you, that gives you peace of mind, fulfillment, that you are in charge, and that with this all these planning, structuring, execution, your impact in the world, whether it's with one person, 10 persons, 10 billion people. Well, we're still not 10 billion in humanity, 8.1 billion people. You can have better impact in the world. I think that we're talking legacy.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's part of the impact story.
Wow. And to create that genuine legacy that matters and that you start living in the now, not living it when you are dead. We got a plan and we're going to be organized. So in a way, you're like a master of the natural laws, right? Like, let's bring order into the chaos. Let's remove the frenzy energy from money, because I love that you found joy in the process. And so
Well,
this is a
yeah.
spiritual component for me. It's like now every time I make more money or I earn money and I give money and I invest, etc., it's going to
Yeah.
be a whole new thing.
Yes, a complete change up that money
Absolutely.
is looking for you.
Wow. No, that is blowing my mind. I wrote it down. We're putting it in the copy, that phrase. I've never, ever thought about that. And until you said that, I realized, wow, the chase for money, even underlying, even if I'm aware, I'm conscious, it's always been there. How am I going to make money? How am I going to pay the bills? I'm just generalizing. How am I going to pay the debts? Where can I get more money? It's like getting a predator mode instead of like being I actually want to be the prey for money to chase me and find me.
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Through your ideas. I grew up in the Buffalo area near Niagara Falls, which is on the
Oh, beautiful.
Canadian border. Uh,
Ah,
and Niagara Falls is this vast, beautiful, powerful falls. And yet it's just beautiful. The energy is not captured. What captures it are the power plants along the riverbanks down below. And that creates a lion's share of New York State's energy supply for the state of New York. So if you think about it's nothing until the power plants are on the shores that creates it into lighting up homes and laptops and around and the ideas and the businesses and the jobs created as a result of that waterfall because of the ideas of human is what makes this beautiful planet, these global exchange of
yeah.
ideas possible.
Wow. This is, by the way, our team. tomorrow morning they're going to the Niagara Falls. Isn't that amazing? So Sophie, that is in the background here, and Nisa, they're going to the falls. So it's for us, Kim, you're blowing our minds, because this is a call that was meant to be, and it's going to be launched in a time frame that actually I think I have other interviews with people that are just like impacting the world by billions of dollar consciousness and
Mm-hmm.
giving and so wow. Okay, so let's talk. We have a couple of more minutes to
Mm-hmm.
go. So so corporations, tell me who is your client, who's your avatar to work with.
Yeah, it's generally individuals and families that we have a minimum of a dollar amount in terms of working with us, and our job is to kind of get them out of that place and get them into alignment with their purpose and passion, so that they can live their ideal calendar and perfect life. Um, and I love what I do. Who wouldn't? Yeah, I get to wake up every day and hang out with people I love, enjoying their joy of their passions as they talk about it with me, that I could live through them. And that to me is like game changer.
Wow, wow, wow. So what are the give us a couple of examples. Obviously now, yeah, now everybody that is listening to this point, you can imagine the examples of what I'm going to ask, but what does impact looks like once you have this purposeful, specific plan that matches the vision, that coordinates all the efforts, be it the company, the person that has it. What does impact looks like? How does impact has looked like for some of your clients?
Yeah. Well, as you know, it's different for every person. And impact is irrelevant of dollars. That's important to understand. But you need to have control over the money in terms of money looking for you. So understand that all of us can have impact. But impact, as it relates to the people we work with, is really about them making a difference in their world. And what that could mean is, from the very basic example of stopping the intergenerational money story that happened 2 generations before you, that is impacting your conversation that you're having with your children. And if you could stop and change that language to be more powerful and understand that money is looking for you instead of the other way around, you could change generations beyond you to a very different outcome of service and tying it together. So, from a very basic impact question, it's you change the family dynamics moving forward into the future. You cut off that story that was not a true story that you were telling yourself, and you change it moving forward. I think that's a huge game
Oh
changer.
my gosh, Kim, you think it's huge? I think this is such, I've been something called family constellations therapist for many years, no, which is the changing the family dynamics, right? One of my mentors, who was in the podcast, his name is Mark Walling. He wrote his book is bestseller worldwide. It's called "It Didn't Start with You, but it can end with you." And he's one of the top family constellators in the world, and the psychology is just incredible. And that's one of the main challenges is in humanity, the family dynamics, is the belief systems that are inherited because we don't question them, because we don't
Hmm.
have the tools and the support to, as corporations, a family is a corporation. Even
Hmm.
if there's only two people, it's a business. Marriage is a business, right?
Hmm.
Mother daughter, mother son, father daughter, father son. It's a relationship of business that will help you grow or sink. So I think that your contribution to humanity, Kim, just because of the way your services, your company, just your consciousness approaches it, it is far much more impacting to me that if I'm invited to a cave in the Himalayas to meditate for 60 years. Let me tell you why, because these are practical tools that I can actually change not only my future, but the future of my future generations.
That's right.
And I cannot find any, I even got emotional right now that you said that. I'm extremely grateful that you are here in the podcast today. I'm extremely grateful that you being the president of your company, you are gracing us with your wisdom here. And I hope that this, awakens in people the importance of all of this, and the importance of and to not remember that money is looking for you now. When it finds you, what are you going to do with it?
That's right.
I think that's where Kim comes in, everybody. That's where Kim and her incredible business comes in. Wow, Kim, I really don't have any more questions. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Understand that most of our audience is in Latin America.
Hmm.
Anything that
Hmm.
you would like? We always close the podcast with like a blessing, right? From the which whatever would be, if you could give some blessing for the community, or a step, an action step for them to do, which is a blessing in itself.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
because I think that's important, right? To take into action. One of my teachers used to say, hope is a future in despair. Unless
mm,
you plan and take action, it's like Nietzsche that used to say, faith without action is dead. It's the same with this. So,
mm.
what is a step, a blessing, a call to action that you have for all of us today?
No, Yvonne, I so appreciate that. I think of when I think of that $1,000 gift that was given to me, I just want to share that blessing to your listeners, to say that I believe in you. I
Mm,
believe in you, every single one of you,
mm,
that you're worthy.
mm. Wow. Amen. Oh my goodness. Kim, I felt it. I've had in the podcast a lot of really, like, we talk about consciousness and spirituality. This is the first podcast. I just want to cry. But I tell you, it's like it released on me
Hmm.
an awareness, a power that has been there for me. I'm good at attracting, creating, manifesting, but I was never aware they was looking for me. So that is like very humbling and very exciting at the same time. So I want to thank you, Kim, from our team that is
Mm.
listening in the background, and that they are so excited. I think their experience in Niagara Falls tomorrow is going to be like absolutely different than before,
Oh, I
And
hope so.
we thank you so much, Kim. How we're going to put all your information, websites, etc. In all we share. Remember, everyone, that our podcast is everywhere: iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, Google Podcast, Alexa, Sonos, iHeartRadio. Everywhere podcasts are, we will be. We also share your information in the Network for Human Empowerment Television. So we will share everything that we can. Is there any specific platform that is preference for you to be found in?
Sure. My business is
Yes,
wealthlegacyinstitute.com.
perfect. That's simple. Wealthlegacyinstitute.com, and we'll make sure to put all the information. Kim, I'm so glad we found each other. I feel like the person, like you, when you receive $1,000. I just felt that with you. So
Mm,
I'm so excited, and I guess Sophie in the background and Nisa in the background. Let us know if you felt the same. This was such a blessing for us, and we will share with all of our listeners all of your wisdom, because it was meant to be. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you, everyone. And remember to give her a follow. Study, 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 learn. Remember, money is looking for you. And I know it was looking for me today. We love you all. We thank you so much. Remember, we're a philanthropic based podcast sponsored by De La Flor Teachings International and produced by Authority Syndication Media. And we send you our love. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channels. Un besito. Adios. Thank you for listening to the Spirituality Now podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and share us with a friend. To learn more about how to live more present in the moment and take your faith into action, visit delaflorteachings.com/faith to access the free training of 21 Days of Faith in Action today.